Awesome. Hey everyone, this is Nancy Chauhan. I'm so happy today because we are just 1 year old and we have Christina with us. She's really amazing and so inspirational for me. And I'm really, really happy to have you, Christina, today. We all want to know more about you. So, can you just introduce yourself?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, Nancy. It's like congratulations on the 1 year anniversary for Women in Cloud Native. This is really really awesome, and thank you for letting me be here. I'm also happy to contribute and share a bit about myself. So yeah, my name is Kristina Devochko. I am a principal software engineer at Amesto 42 in Oslo, Norway, and I have been working in tech for soon 8 years, but that was kind of never what I wanted to or planned for. But I'm really happy that I ended up in tech anyway, and I'm also an active contributor in the tech community, especially the CNCF community as well, which I also enjoy doing a lot. So that's a quick intro. But
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I remember we met through sustainability initiatives, and that's
yeah.
what we're going to talk about more. So, Christina, your journey is really amazing. I mean, when I saw that you've just transitioned from economics to tech-oriented field. I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
wow. I mean, wow. I mean, I can relate this a bit because I'm also from electronics background, and it's kind of tough to shift to entire new journey. I mean, that's really tough. So
Mm.
maybe can you just tell us more about your transition from economics to the more tech oriented, software oriented field?
Yeah, I mean, this was never a plan. I never kind of expected or even could imagine that I would end up in the tech field. And I think for like 12 years ago, when I had to decide which kind of higher education I'm going to take, there was this culture that there were almost no women in tech, at least from where I come from. And
Yeah.
this was therefore never like even a thought I could give myself. I did ace the school subjects that were related to like programming or informatics, what it was called, but those were like plain HTML, CSS type of development. So that was not much for me to think that, okay, maybe this is the industry I would transition to. So I chose economics, which was like a very popular subject or studies at that time, and I realized that it was extremely boring for me. It was so difficult to motivate myself, and I had a best friend, a girl who was also studying the IT studies, but she was more into natural language processing and linguistics in kind of in the tech industry. So she really enjoyed the culture in the IT studies at the university, and she said, okay, but if you find it boring, why don't you just try computer science studies and see if that works out. So I basically just applied after the first year at economics, and I got in, and that's kind of where it all started. So that's where I ended. That's how I ended up in tech, and I never looked back. I'm really happy that I got challenged. That it's a bit of a fun coincidence that it was my
Yeah.
friend who kind of challenged me in that way.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, with me, it happens when I don't overthink much and I just try out
Yeah,
things that actually go good. So I guess
yeah,
like the same happened with you, and you just got it. And it's really working amazing for you.
yeah.
That's really nice, Christina. So maybe can you share some challenges that you faced during the transition? I'm pretty sure that you might have faced a lot of
Mm.
challenges. So did you self-study a lot of subjects, or like how did you cope up with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to be honest here, and I can't like say that it was like super easy and it was just the way upward the whole way, and I had no problems at all. Of course, it was extremely challenging because it was also a mindset shift. I kind of don't come with with that background from before, like I didn't have extensive skills from school that would help me kind of just start out with acing all those subjects. So the first year especially was super challenging for me. I was like crying at many nights because I found it hard to
Mhm.
progress. I found it hard to like complete some of the subjects because you had a few ongoing at the same time covering different areas. And just to manage to switch to that mindset was really difficult. And there haven't been many women in the study groups that I was part of, and I felt like alone. It had been quite lonely for me the first year, so I struggled getting like good grades the first year, and thought like, okay, maybe this is not for me. I can't do it. But then from the second year, I kind of just managed. I had also a friend that I got to know during this first year, who was also a woman, and we started just we made an agreement, and we met each other every day from Monday to Friday. We took like a big cup of coffee, and we took a private room, and we just sat there, both of us. We had different subjects
Mhm.
most of the time, but we just sat there together and tried to do our assignments. And I think that helped me a lot, just having that routine, that agreement, and kind of a friend just to go and sit there with and feel that I'm not alone in it. So after some time, like after the second year, I managed to make up for the first year and kind of get a better progress on it. But when I really got a spark was at my first job, where I came in as a trainee in the R&D department, and I had a great mentor who was like, I struggled to like see through the millions of lines of code and figure out where do I add this functionality. And then he just sat with me and just started explaining me things totally in a welcoming, friendly manner, and it just clicked. And after that, it was like a spark. So it was just unstoppable after that. So yeah, it was a rough, many ups and downs, but that's how we learn, and that's how we get better, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, totally, I can understand this, and I'm really happy that you got, like, when you mentioned, right, the group study part. That's something I always struggled in, even in my university.
Mm.
That's something even I struggle to find a group. So
Mm.
yeah, and that's something which is solved by being a part of community. I guess that's my experience. Like when I started, so that I also had a similar issue that I was not able to find my group, and I was,
Mhm.
and sometimes you need a group just to motivate you, or just be, giving that,
Yeah.
giving that thing that they are there. And then I guess I joined the open source communities, and I started contributing to open source. I guess I really met amazing people. I mean, one of the most inspirational person or helpful person was my first mentor. I mean, like the
Mhm.
open source mentor, Oleg. So I was contributing to this project, and then again I applied for the GSOC project with him. But I remember there was just a very small thing which I had to do, but that was big for me at that time. I just had to update the plugins, and I just asked him that, hey, what is it? And then he was like so down to earth to explain this, or maybe just pass some references, like which could help me understand this more. And that's how my journey started. So
Mm.
I totally believe that now it's kind of, I'm not sure how was it when you were at the university, you had communities or not, but I guess now we have so many online communities, and
Mm.
it's kind of nice to get that support. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, back in 2013, 2014, when I started, we
yeah.
didn't hear much about anything, any of that. And that if we had those opportunities, or we heard, or if I heard or knew about these opportunities to participate in the community, I mean, I would have started so much earlier, I think, because that's a great help, especially if you're a beginner. What I feel with the community is it's so welcoming, and there are so
Mhm.
many people that are willing to help. Like if you're a beginner and you just let others know that you are, it's like many people will start like reaching out to you with willingness to help, and that's so amazing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, Christina. So I just want to ask Christina. So you mentioned about the R&D team.
Yeah.
That was, I think that's your first gig, right? I mean, the first.
Mm, mm.
uh, So were you the only women engineer in the team? I mean, or you had a lot of other women? Because I
Oh
remember
yeah.
I was the only one in my first job.
Oh my, yeah, yeah. I was the only one actually. That was funny. I think I replaced. There was another woman who has been working there for many many years, but then she switched the department to work more with like consultancy and
Yeah.
very specific customer projects. So I just ended in this R&D as a trainee first, and then I kind of got a job full time there, and I was the only one that was developer focused. There was one more woman in the department,
Mhm.
but she was mainly focused on like project management, on the kind of agile, like Scrum Master type of role. So I was like the only one in the team, and one of two, you may say, in general in the whole department, but the only one like the more technical, more development aimed. So that was, yeah, I mean, that was a bit like, I don't want to say awkward, but it felt strange because I was very insecure to begin with.
Agree.
And there, yeah, that sounds like you mentioned you were also the
Yeah,
only
yeah,
one, right?
yeah. I sometimes I feel, I mean, now as well, sometimes I have those feelings of insecurity, but then now I know how to
Hmm.
get away from it fast. But yeah, I
Yeah.
can totally relate.
Yeah, I think I was lucky in the when it comes to the culture, when it comes to type of the colleagues I had, because they were like super friendly and welcoming, and I still only have warmest memories and thoughts about them. I have been working there for 7 years, for which was the first job, and there was a reason for that because those people were so good. So I
Mhm.
think if I wasn't lucky in the type of culture, there were specific technical men who are not necessarily as welcoming, because I've seen that happen as well. I'm not sure if it worked out with the spark and the whole motivation to continue. So I guess I was lucky on that part as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, totally. I was just going to ask you this question that if, what suggestion would you give to someone? Because we know that women in general are very less in the
Mm,
number. So maybe what suggestion would you give to men and women, like all of them, for this situation? How can you make it more comfortable for everyone in the team? Because
mm,
you are at one of the leadership position, and I
mm.
mean, what are your suggestions? How can you make the whole environment comfortable? Yeah, for everyone.
I think that we for example, I just remember how we in the tag environmental sustainability start our meetings, like that we say that there is a code of conduct, but the way we summarize it is that just be nice and great and kind to each other. And I think that's where it all starts. Like, we we shouldn't look at each other as a man or a woman, or what kind of religion we have, or what kind of gender, or any other types of preferences. We should look at each other as colleagues, as friends, or as people, and just be just treat others in the way you would want to be treated yourself. And I think that would be a good place to start. And when it comes to the working environment in general, I have seen a lot of value in just being supportive, helpful. Yeah, we may all be busy with our tasks, but if someone comes and asks you for help, just being willing to use some of that time to help and be welcoming will create this safe psychological environment where people can feel that they can ask questions, independent of it being a woman or a man. Yeah, so, and if you're a beginner, especially like for us women in tech, we're still not that many as we would want that to be. I would really recommend exploring some of the communities we have in the cloud native, in the open source space. Now we hear more about it at universities and even at schools, and there is so many more to choose from right now. So I would probably recommend not to be afraid to join and say, hi, I am new, I would like to learn more about you, can you help me out here? And from my experience, many times, I still see it every day, many people will get back to you and give you
Yeah.
a helping hand. So there is nothing shameful in it, or nothing scary. So no one will judge you in the communities I've been in, at least.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Totally agree. I mean, just saying that's what I mentioned in my. I was at Cube Day India, so that's
Mm,
what I mentioned in the talk as well. Like, just say hi, and you
yeah,
just don't have to do anything, and people are amazing, and they're just going to tell you that what you have to do next. So it's kind of
totally.
easy. And I think open source is one of the best place where you can learn more about, the culture and the empathy part, which you discussed about.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, totally. So with that, Christina, because you mentioned about the sustainability as well, and I know that you are into that, and I'm also learning a lot from you. Like, just being here. But I also keep checking the Tag Environment Sustainability group, and I just keep, because I also believe in this topic, and I believe we should at least start discussing about
mm,
sustainability because it's really important. So,
mm,
so what are your perspective about it? And did you like adopt? What inspired you to focus on sustainability? In your personal life, and can you share some specific changes or maybe practices which you have adopted to have a more
mm.
sustainable lifestyle?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have been looking into it a lot personally, and that's where I started. So it started quite a few years ago, and in general, I love nature. I love being outside. I love animals, and I'm focusing a lot on animal welfare, and that's kind of where it started, because we get all of these resources from our planet. We have such That's the reason for why we live and are able to continue living and kind of create new generations of people that will come after us. But we need to give something back. Otherwise, it is just a one-end relationship, and that's what we started hearing from the scientists as well. That things are not going that well in terms of the climate change and in terms of resource exhaustion, and that's where I started focusing more on kind of contributing, doing my part personally at home, just following the rule that we hear a lot: reduce, reuse, recycle. So trying to minimize the amount of things that I am buying, amount of new things like, decorations and stuff. If I can find a used thing, I would buy it from someone who has it instead of buying a new one. Not using plastic bags when I go to the store, but use the material bags that can be used many many times. And Norway in general has like also good system for like waste recycle that I'm also following. So these are like few small steps that you could do. And one of the other activities that we like doing in the neighborhood is just go out. We have like a special type of I don't know if it's a stick or what, but you can pick up trash in an easier way. So you could like don't use your hands, but you could just use this thingy to pick up the trash. So we like do it in the neighborhood like regularly, just go away around the walking tour, and at the same time pick up the trash that is laying there on the ground on the roads, and then just put it to the trash cans instead. And we see that others who come by also see it, and they like, oh, okay, we could probably do that. Or they start thinking. So that thinking process that we may start in other people is also gives me a very good feeling that by that we could also influence others and be an example. So that's how I started with it in my personal life, and naturally it also transitioned into my work and in the work I'm doing in the community. And it's still an emerging topic, so a lot is happening. But we start talking about it. We start seeing tools that come out that can help us make the tech industry more sustainable as a whole. And I think there is a lot of potential here for get more contributors in this space as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I totally love whatever you have described. This is new to me as well.
Yeah.
The things you mentioned, and I'll try to adopt this as well. I'm just wondering, Christina, like you mentioned about sustainability in tech, right?
Mm,
So, how do you? Because I know that at least we are starting this discussion. I know that from CNCF perspective, we are doing a lot around this. But again, I mean, this journey of inspiring people to adopt this in their workplaces is something which is challenging, I guess, in
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
opinion. So, were you able to convince your colleagues, or maybe were you able to adopt some sustainable practices?
Mm, mm. Yeah, I think it's still a challenge because when it comes to sustainability, it's a lot of advertising and greenwashing that we see that is happening, that people are using this more like a hype because it's such a trendy topic instead of like being more focused on actually making a significant impact. And that's why it can be challenging to start this discussion with others because they may have seen some of this more hype type of content, and then they have this prejudice when you start discussing this with them. But I think the way I started doing this at work is that I started being the one bringing this up every time we discuss a new feature, or we discuss something that is related to the software development lifecycle. I bring sustainability as a criteria. Okay, we're going to implement this, or we're going to adopt this tool. Okay, how efficient is it? How resource efficient is it? What are the alternatives? Can we look at it from the sustainability perspective as well? And I think I started like mentioning that, others after some time also started mentioning it. And then we also had customers that would come, especially the governmental organizations. Now the change is happening on the national level as well, that we will see new laws coming out that will require reporting on your emissions as an organization. And we start getting that question as well. Okay, how are your emissions looking like? How efficient is your software? And that's when we also start hearing it from our direct consumers. And that's when what I kind of started by mentioning it all the time, I also start hearing in the discussion from others. So I think that's the thing. That's the first step we can do, is start bringing this up in our daily discussions in our teams, start providing that feedback for our leaders during the all hands meetings or any types of activities where you can get that feedback back to others who impact the decisions being taken in your organization. And the second step would be to start exploring these communities we have, because the main point of the sustainability focused communities like the CNCF tag environmental sustainability, like Green Software Foundation and its local meetups that are all around the globe, and it's expanding with every month. This would be a place for you to get to know others who care about this topic deeply, so that you could exchange those experiences, so that you could learn from each other and you can support each other in terms of like, how do you take this knowledge and others experience and get back to your company and make that impact by sharing that, and maybe motivating your colleagues to contribute and dedicate time to do something around this topic. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. I mean, because I was also struggling with this. How are you convincing, and how is it happening? I was also struggling this with this question. I mean,
Hmm.
something which came in my mind is like if we can have some kind of metrics which we could show, which
Hmm.
could actually convince people in the team, that would be
Hmm.
really nice. But I guess we have a lot of toolings already around this. Like Kepler is there, where
Hmm.
you can and you can define, at least you can see. I mean, when you see things happening, then you're more convinced with it. And also,
Yeah.
I remember, yeah, also I remember once we did this sustainability week in Bangalore as a part of the sustainability week by Tag CNCF. So there was this one talk by my friend itself, like Sanchita. She's also trying to build a community in India around this topic. So she also mentioned about the cost. I mean, if you're caring about, if you're adopting sustainable practices, you're actually, it's like directly proportional to reducing the cost. So you are basically reducing the cost as well. So it's kind of a win-win to do, I mean, to take things in that direction. So yeah, this is like an amazing the answer which you gave, Christina. That's really
Hmm,
helpful
thank
for a
you.
lot of people. So maybe can you just explain more about tag environment sustainability and in general, like what does it do and how can people contribute, because there are different parts to it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't been that extremely long in the tag environmental sustainability. I think, but it is in itself. This technical advisory group hasn't been there for that many years. I think it was started in
Yeah.
2021, if I'm not mistaken, and then like really emerged now since the KubeCon and Cloud Native Con that was in
Mhm.
EU in the Netherlands in Amsterdam this year. And what we basically do is that we focus on activities, events, and maybe creating some projects that would help improve the sustainability posture of the cloud native space and help those that are in the cloud native realm become more sustainable and maybe improve
Mhm.
also the existing projects. So we are doing a bunch of different initiatives. We now have two working groups that are more scoped to a specific task or project. So we have the Green Reviews working group that is working on a very exciting project that is like more technical. So it would be focused on building a workflow that could be used to measure and provide data about the sustainability posture of CNCF projects. So, in
Mhm.
the long term vision is that any project in the CNCF landscape could just trigger this workflow, measure their tool, their project under load, and see how resource intensive it is. And then you could measure it over time and see if you could improve the code of your project, the types of third-party dependencies it's using, and so on and so forth, to kind of reduce or improve your sustainability, the sustainability level and efficiency level of your project over time. And we would like to have that statistics publicly available for the community to see and use it in their criteria of choosing a project that they would integrate in their systems. So it's super exciting, very technical if you like coding, so this can be a great opportunity to contribute. And the other working group is more focused on communications, ensuring that we get published content from the community members on the topic of cloud native sustainability, create events, create these forums where people can interact with the tag and with each other and kind of bring awareness and spread awareness about cloud native
Mhm.
sustainability and what we do in the tag. So, and we have a few initiatives going on. I think today, like at the time of this recording, I'm not sure when it will come out, but we will also be having our last meeting of the year just to reflect on what we have done. We have done a lot in 2023 and like how go through some ideas that we have gathered from the community for the next year. So it's still open for any ideas and it's open for everyone every day every time. So if you would if you care about this topic, there will be a welcoming community that would take you with open arms if you would like to join. So yeah, I've been there since April 2023 actually, and it has been amazing. I love being part of that community.
Indeed. I mean, I can totally say this. I love the community, and
Yeah,
everyone
and
is
I
so
met you there. I met you there, Nancy. That's also a great.
exactly.
That was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was just going to mention that working group comms and obviously Green Review, they've been doing amazing work. There has been a lot of
Mm,
awareness. I mean, I know this for a fact that so many people, I mean, recently there had been a lot of awareness. People are getting to know that, okay, this topic is there. There are so many tools. So I'm really happy and I'm looking forward to it. And maybe I can also mention about the Slack group and
mm,
also the tax environment sustainability website in the link, basically in the comment section, so that people can just join and they can just say hi and at least hi to me or maybe
mm,
Christina, and then we can figure it out how
absolutely.
to take it forward. Yeah, Christina. So maybe one of the last question is like, do you have any advice for individuals who want to engage in environment sustainability initiatives. I know you've already mentioned about the working groups, and they can come
Mm,
say hi, but basically, what could be their first step? I mean,
mm.
where can they contribute? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like if you want to learn more about the topic, like if you're a bit cautious about contributing and want just to learn a bit more about what it's about, what is sustainability in tech, I would probably recommend to check out the free course from Linux Foundation that was done in cooperation with Green Software Foundation that is called Green Software for Practitioners. So it gives you like a totally foundational knowledge on how you would understand sustainability in tech. And if you would like to like start contributing or getting to know the people from the different projects that are working in the community, you could check out both the tag environmental sustainability that you also mentioned, Nancy, the different working groups, or just start with our main channel on CNCF Workspace Slack. Or you could also check the Green Software Foundation website, and they have the local meetups. I think it's more than 35 countries right now.
Mhm.
So you could also check if there is one in your where you live. So you could actually have a possibility to meet some of the local community members in person. So I would probably start there. And if you have any questions, I would just encourage you, please don't be afraid to ask those, because these communities are very welcoming, because we are so passionate about this topic and we are so happy to see new members joining us. So don't be afraid to join and ask any questions you may have.
Yeah, totally. I mean, totally. Just say hi. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you so much, Christina. I mean, with this, we are just going to end it, and this is going to be. I mean, this session is very special because this is going to be the last interview of this year, with very inspiring
Yay.
and one of my favorite person. And also, the day we are recording this is like the birthday, the first year birthday, the 1 year birthday of Women in Cloud Native Community. So yeah, this is really really nice. So if you are looking forward to meet more people like Christina, and there are other women in the cloud native space, so you can just join the CNCF Slack channel. There is CNCF Women group, or maybe if you want to join, if you're there on Discord, we have there on Discord as well. And we regularly do workshops and interviews like this. So yeah, just join. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy.